pretty disappointed.
Well, let's fucking
I was
go.
under tremendous amounts of stress.
This motherfucker's freaking out over
so
here.
It starts like this. In the middle of October,
Tell
my
me what
sewer
happened.
explodes. And I'd had problems with it for years, but like this time around, it just no shit quit. I had no sewer. No shit quit. I get it. I've said that like 30 times while shooting this video. I just now realized that's a joke about sewers. The whole sewer line had to be replaced end to end, and because I'm an American, I had to do this myself. Now, when I posted about this on Patreon, I got a number of comments from very confused European people going like, that can't be how it works, right? You're right to be confused. It's wild that it works like this. But if you're an American homeowner, you own your plumbing all the way out to the city's main, which is usually under a road. So if your entire sewer or your entire freshwater line fails and you have to dig up the road to fix part of it, you pay for it. Now, you might be wondering, how can that be possible? Who could survive a financial nightmare like that? And the answer is, not very many people. We just live in hell over here. But anyway, it wasn't actually that bad for me. The pipe was only compromised up to the edge of the property. It was fine after that, but for long and complicated reasons that I don't want to get into, I still had to pay to have the city's sidewalk removed and replaced.
No.
So in all, this ran me about $30,000, and no, homeowners insurance will not cover it. They call it normal wear and tear, which makes you wonder just what the hell that stuff is good for. So I ran a GoFundMe, and I took out a loan, and if either one of those failed, I wouldn't have flushing toilets right now, or probably never again. So you can imagine how this made me feel. But on top of that, I was in pain all the time, and I didn't know why. It started in the middle of the plumbing project. It was just an ache in my abdomen. It moved around, but never really went away. It was pretty mild at first, so I managed to get through all of any video, but over the course of November, it just got worse and worse until I was waking up every day hurting. I couldn't think about anything. I'd been to a doctor and he didn't seem too impressed, so I was just sort of waiting for the next shoe to drop, I guess, when I woke up one morning to find my basement flooding. My house tries to flood itself every winter, and I'd set up a bunch of pumps and sensors to keep this under control, but I'd accidentally unplugged them one day, and I didn't notice until the water had been coming in for over an hour. Whoops. So I had to rip up the carpet in my home office and throw out a bunch of stuff, and it certainly could have been worse. But it was just
You okay with it, buddy? Because I got multiple people on me.
To cope with, and it also rendered my home office uninhabitable for several weeks. So I was sitting around at home with nothing to do. I'm in pain. I can't think. I'm unable to go to my
on the outside though, up top. Yeah, there's people right over here though on top of me. Over to my right.
Project I was working on. I mean, there was.
I think we should bail this way and move out. Bail that way and get out.
It's gone. I have no idea what I was going to do next. So, what do
well, yeah, I mean, I got a Havoc and a G7 Scout. I'm not going to about to
I've been putting off for 5 years because it was too big. And that was documenting the NewTek Amiga video toaster. And I'm a real genius. I can't begin to explain the scope of this project, but I'll just tell you that in the current state...
Well, I'm down. Where did you leave me to?
Basically, I completed the NaNoWriMo challenge for 2023. Go me. But you can imagine what a nightmare that could be shoot, right? And of course, being an American, pain doesn't keep me from going to work. So I go back to the studio and I start shooting this thing. And I spend so long there that I just start filling up SSDs with raw footage. I filled up 4 2-terabyte Samsung SSDs. And then I went to Best Buy and I bought 2 more 2-terabyte Samsung SSDs, and I filled all of those up. I have 12 terabytes of footage here from this video. And I brought it all home and I edited it and I rendered out the rough cut and I sent it to a few people privately, and the response was mixed. And I'd already had second thoughts about a lot of the decisions I made, so I just decided to shit can everything, rewrite about 75% of the script, and do it all again from scratch. And this is not unusual for the kind of videos that I make. I frequently go, you know what, this just went in the wrong direction, and I shit can it and I start over. But that's for a video that's like 30 to 45 minutes, okay? This was 3.5 hours. So I was not really sure if I'd made the right decision. And in the middle of all this, the house falling apart and not knowing if I'm ruining a video that's taken weeks out of my life already, on Thanksgiving Eve, the pain in my gut finally decides to migrate down and to the right, and you might know what that means. Though, yeah, I spent Thanksgiving having my appendix taken. It's very possible that in October, so I started, I was actually having
folks back home.
You can get it, and then it can just go away, and then maybe come back, maybe not. Well, apparently mine came and went, and then came back and stayed. So it's a good thing I got it taken out when I did. Didn't have a chance to rupture, and
hey, buddy.
Pretty well now, but well, the wonders of modern medicine are impressive. It turns out that even a quick, clean, totally ideal laparoscopic procedure
on my life
can be laid up for over a month. I could barely do it for the first week, actually.
On God, no cap for real, for real.
I'm doing a lot better now. I almost feel back to normal, but
W Riz.
Sometime in the middle of January, or I could bust some stitches. So. Yeah,
Gen Alpha is the best.
It's been a journey, and what this all boils down to is I've been running at half capacity for months while I haven't put anything out. I'm now on official hiatus, and I'm going to stay there until I'm back at 100%. My patrons have sternly and strenuously insisted that I not lift a finger until I'm fully healed, and I'm inclined to agree with their judgment. And fortunately, the weirdness of the job that I've built for myself here, where people basically pay me regardless of exactly what and how often I produce, makes this possible, but only to an extent. I hate to admit this, but I've actually become dependent on my AdSense revenue. I didn't want it to happen. I detested it, but I can't deny that after I quit my day job, the extra couple grand
don't say that or I'll leave
became
you.
a necessary part of my budget. Now, most
Don't
months
you know
I
how to
have trouble
read?
with this. I put out a video or two, it keeps the number where it should be, no problem. But obviously, after 2 months of putting out literally nothing, the number is dipping considerably. And that's particularly problematic when I now have a new and substantial loan to pay off. So I've been trying to think about stuff I could produce here at the house that wouldn't be too strenuous, here at my desk. I might actually be putting out another essay on video game stuff relatively soon that will hopefully be less weird than the last one I did. Maybe that'll get some views, but I guess I'll just say this.
Oh, but I'm talking to you.
For my Patreon, but you've been thinking about it. Now would be a great time to pull that trigger. I mean, you can think of it as
go tell your mom.
Or just life support until I
get her on the mic for me. Get her on the mic for me. I'm gonna ask her out on a date. Show you what real Riz is.
You can go with my UFC dad first.
Okay, I'll do that. I was there before that UFC was what it is today. I'd be happy to work your dad over and then win your mom.
Wrap up speech, talking about like what my experiences over the last 12 months have taught me about the meaning of Christmas or whatever. But I couldn't really think of anything, and then it occurred to me, there's something been bugging me about my channel and where it's gone and how I've gotten here, and it's been
don't do me dirty like that,
not necessarily
son.
A problem per se, but things have changed since I started this in ways I didn't expect, and I've been wanting to talk about it, but I haven't been able to figure out where or when, and you know what? How about here and now? So, the other day, I was looking up a really old video of mine.
Why are you doing that,
Psycho? I was shocked to realize that I've been making YouTube videos for over 6 years.
I don't trust you anymore.
I would have thought 3,
I won't believe you when you get
most.
into a fight and you die by yourself.
Yeah, it's 2017.
You ever heard of the story of the boy who cried
really
wolf?
To me is that over that time period, my subject matter has changed tremendously. I mean, I started out trying to cover like.
Is that how you have a comeback for me? Is that your verbal game, buddy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that way you learned that in what, junior high?
I actually
Elementary school? Are you a private school kid?
I had this idea that I was going to do all these videos where
you sound like a private school kid.
Play all these found tapes.
You have
and
no
talk about
social
what was on them and
ineptitude.
I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, even then, it doesn't seem like something I would have actually done. I never did manage to get myself to even begin pulling those out. I only actually got around to throwing away the cassettes like 6 months ago.
Is that supposed to offend me? Are you that mad at girls? You think something's wrong with being a girl? What the hell's wrong with you, kid? Go tell your mom there's something wrong with her being a girl. You're pathetic.
What's really interesting is that one of those passions no longer really seems to be video equipment. And I think a lot of you will understand why that seems strange to me. I mean, I've seen my channel around this. Have you looked at my avatar? For Christ's sake, obviously I had the idea that I was going to be a channel.
Probably older than your mom, honestly.
And that idea has persisted up to at least, a couple of years ago. But it's
really, I bet I am. What year was she born?
And I only really realized fairly recently that was going on. for a while, it did seem like a primary focus. I mean, I had a number of banger videos about it. The 2 videos that put me on the map, as it were.
Okay, don't answer.
Really have an audience were about how the NES
probably not, but I'm not going to actually tell you anything.
So when I decided to rename my channel from its initial throwaway name to Cathode Ray Dude, that seemed to make a lot of sense. And it still does. I'm not planning on changing the name. I like the name. But it does feel a bit weird to identify that way, given that I, frankly, mostly just talk about computers these days. And it took me quite a bit to realize that this was happening. Over the first few years that I was making money off my channel, I was putting it all back into the channel, but it was all going towards video equipment of different types. So I got all these camcorders and video mixers and effects units. I mean, I've shown you some of it. The camcorder shelf has shown up in several videos, and it's a little embarrassing for reasons I'll reveal shortly. But I've got all that stuff in the studio still, and really no desire to make videos about most of it, you know? And it's weird how this happened. I mean, I know that at one point I felt incredibly fired up about this, and I had this idea that I would just, you know, take every single item that I obtained and write a script about, you know, what its feature set was and what it did versus other things and whatnot. And
Scrappy or something.
Now it's all just gone. Like, it just...
You don't know how to read those letters, Scrappy DP?
No, ma'am.
With me at some point that, you know...
Why do you go from, like, trying to be a normal person to being a dick
as long
in
as
2
broken,
seconds?
the picture's pretty much gonna look the same from one to the other. I mean, the whole point of
pretending like you're insulting me by calling me ma'am? Are you, do you have no self-awareness, buddy?
Not, well, I don't know how to fix
Yes, ma'am.
So
do you think that's coming at me in any way or doing anything for me insulting-wise, or does it just make you look silly?
At some later point, it clicked with me that what I like is not talking about neat things, it's telling
Have some perspective.
And I don't think I'm as good at it as some people, like the people who maybe want to be a YouTuber to begin with. I wish I was better, but it's still the only thing that really gets me fired up. And it means that all the stuff that I cover has to have some kind of narrative behind it, or I just can't do it. And it was always like this. I mean, I spent my first few years on here trying to make videos about stuff that was just neat, and it just broke me, you know? Writing scripts was agonizing, because I was trying to figure out how to suck some kind of drama out of just describing an object and its capabilities, and it just didn't work. Nowadays, the writing becomes a lot easier, because everything that I choose to cover fires my imagination in some way. So you've got the Olivetti typewriter and the Creative Infra CD, and of course all the quick start machines, you know, they're slam dunks because they have one thing in common. It's really hard for me to imagine how any of them made it to production. The devices themselves do fascinate me to be sure of what they can do and how they're designed to is cool, but what's far more exciting than here's a weird thing is asking, how did this weird thing get made? It's the human element that gets it, right? Thinking about what the meetings were like that produced a lot of the stuff that I cover on here. It's like 95% of where my head is when I'm working on the scripts for these things. So, in the last 5 years, out of my whole collection, the only camcorders that ever managed to
keep moving if you can
were the disc-based ones and the one with the weird little pop-out control module. I didn't even realize it then, but the reason those interested me wasn't because they were weird cameras, but because I felt that the way they were conceived must have been weird. I mean, think about it, right? At some point, someone had to say, well, what if we made a camcorder that recorded on the DVD? And then everybody else in the room went, shut up, Bob, that'll never work. But somehow, you know, they ended up bringing that to market. And there must have been
I'm gonna crack you, bro.
I have
like, no way I'm getting out of this.
Lots of things to doubt about disc-based camcorders. It wasn't a good idea. It didn't work very well, and they went away as soon as they could, right? So, yeah. There was a technology that just didn't want to be born, and yet it was. Well, conversely, I eventually realized that my collection of broadcast cameras was very cool, but the thing that I like about that kind of product is that it's very well made, it's very pragmatic, and there's no story in that, right? Like, what? A guy who earned his engineering degree, went to work, didn't get stuck with a half-assed budget, didn't get paired with incompetent coworkers, didn't get saddled with self-defeating directives from dumbass executives, and produced a product that works and that customers actually want. That's great, man. Good work. Bye. There's nothing to say about it. And I just don't know how to gush over something for 20 minutes, no matter how much I like it. I mean, I've managed it a couple times, like with my video on the DSR-50 tape recorder and the PVM-1390, but I think both of those were kind of weird, and they were both kind of a struggle for me. You know, like I think I only pulled it off because with the DSR-50, I was at least showing you something you'd probably never seen before, right? But that's it. Like any other tape deck that I put up there, it's just going to be more of the same thing, and I just don't know how to do that. This might sound strange, but I just don't know how to compliment something. You know, like if it's good, I'm just going to go, oh, that's good. And, you know, I'll give it the nod. But that's it. And I just don't have it in me to make any further observations. So, the end result of this realization is I threw away my camcorder collection. I mean, not all of it, but well over half of it. I just piled it up on a cart, and I took it to RePC, and I dumped it on the shelves and put $10 stickers on everything because I wanted them to go to people who would actually appreciate them and use them. And I wasn't doing that. Like, I realized that I hadn't turned on any of them in 2 years. And in fact, that I had had some for 6 or 8 months and never turned them on at all. And I couldn't really think of a scenario where I would ever turn any of them on. I couldn't think of anything that any one of them could do that I couldn't do with something else. So what I kept was just the stuff that had some kind of story behind it, like something worth bringing up in conversation. Case in point, this funky looking thing, right? That's the camera that you see at the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Hey guys, mute this.
That's one fact about it, but it's not actually why I have it. I just found it on shopgoodwill.org, and I bought it because I thought it looked incredibly dorky. Like, I mean, look at it. It's just got the mic just sticking straight out in front. The viewfinder is like sticking off the side on this like ball joint, right? It's got this big heavy die-cast metal bail for a carrying handle. I mean, this thing is absurd, and it weighs a ton too. I don't know that I really have anything else to say about it, but at least I know why I bought it. And this is really why most of my old subject matter just went by the wayside, right? Like, what is there to say about old games? Mostly, if they're bad, we know the reasons that they're bad. And if they're good, well, you know, what do I have to say about that either? It's good. You should play it. And then I had this idea at the outset of the channel that I thought was super novel. I wanted to review, like, lost PC productivity software. That sounded so fascinating to me. It still is. I wish someone would do it, right? Looking at these old programs, like purpose-built things for, like, doing your taxes, specifically in Nebraska in 1991, just fascinating. It's just, I don't know why, I don't know that I can really explain what it is that attracts me to them, but something about that sort of Wild West era of like 3 people in an office somewhere put together a program in like Pascal, and then sold it to like 300 people total as floppy disks that they mailed out, you know, from the backs of local catalogs and whatnot. And in a lot of cases, the software is like very good. You know, it's better than the stuff that you use nowadays, but it's because it's built down to this very specific application, right? Fascinates me. In fact, here we go. I've got a program just like that here. This is called Chef Tech. This is food service management software. I'll bet like 600 people watching this are just pointing at the screen, just like, oh, that thing. I get that reference. So apparently what this does is you install this on your computer at your restaurant and just plug into it all your recipes. Like you tell it, okay, we make Caesar salads, and each one requires, you know, 1/3 of a romaine head and you know, this much crouton and this much dressing and this much cheese. And we sell about 30 of these every day, except on Saturdays where we sell about 40 of them. And then the software calculates how much of each ingredient you're going to need, plus all the other meals that use it, and it spits out a report saying how much of each of those things you can
well, I found out where the fuck
so
you've
you
been,
don't run
that's
out.
all I needed
And there was
to know.
been a joke that you then just send all that off to Cisco directly, because you know, if you work in food service, you get
Whoa. You're watching me? Dude, that's so nice. My day is officially made. Missed you, man. Steam will now let you choose to hide games that you own, such as adult-oriented ones, from other people. This is a huge deal. I mean, not for me, for friends of mine. This is all thanks to the new Steam client beta that also adds some nice quality of life changes to the shopping cart. allowing items in your shopping cart to sync across devices you're logged into. More importantly, for people I know, users will be able to mark games as private before they even purchase them. According to the beta notes, marking a game as private will hide your ownership, in-game status, playtime, and activity in that game from being seen by anyone other than you. In an FAQ, Steam describes marking a game as private as the opposite of the previously existing hidden games feature, which simply hides it from your library while everyone else can still see you own it. And if you thought hiding a game did something else, you may need to flee the country and start a new life. According to the friends I mentioned earlier, it is weird that Steam didn't have this functionality sooner, since Steam started allowing basically anything 5 years ago. The number of games marked with an NSFW tag has massively increased. I didn't know it, and frankly, you can't prove that I did anymore. Thank you, Steam. Bobby Kotick is departing Activision before the end of the month. Microsoft has announced more leadership changes in the wake of its unholy feud with Activision Blizzard. Head of Xbox Game Studios and colloquial secretary Red Bull Matt Reedy.
Introducing your champion.
You guys got speaking. Announced Bill Brass will be taking over as studio head for Bethesda. Don't worry, I'll find the new one could be. One change Microsoft didn't get to announce was the ousting of Bobby Kotick as CEO of Activision Blizzard. The development team finally decided to do it himself in an email that is now available on the newsroom site, stating he is leaving on the 29th after 32 years of consistently making the wrong decisions. I don't think that's a quote, but we're paraphrasing. For example, after Activision Blizzard received massive allegations of workplace harassment, he wrote an email so tone-deaf that it led to an employee walkout. While Kotick may not be missed by his former employees, we here at GameLink will miss Lulu Mezerbe,
Are you
who will step
insane?
down as Activision's Chief Communications Officer at the end of January. Mezerbe's many communications on Twitter, such as her rant claiming the Last of Us TV series' success meant the Microsoft merger should be allowed to proceed, are some of the greatest things we've ever gotten to talk about on this show.
We miss you, Lulu. Mwah.
Bethesda has announced they will be adding survival mechanics to Starfield, the game that some people are still playing. I mean, there's one. Yesterday, the studio posted an end-of-the-year update blog post that announced what 2024 has in store for the space RPG. In addition to working on the game's first major expansion, Bethesda says they plan to start updating the game roughly every 6 weeks, starting in February. Part of these updates will be adding new gameplay options, including the aforementioned new survival mechanics. This announcement really stuck out to us for a few reasons. Todd Howard has stated that ships were originally supposed to run out of fuel, forcing players to mine for more. Howard also stated that the game's environmental damage system used to actually matter before they nerfed the hell out of it. Now, it's just unexplained colored circles that show up on your HUD sometimes. Which don't make any sense because you're in a suit. How did you get lung damage?
Oh, that got blue?
For this year's spacesuits, I'm thinking mesh.
Bikinis?
Redditors months ago speculated that Starfield was originally much more survival-focused. And if they're right, these survival mechanics won't be new, but rather old game features the studio decided to remove. I guess Bethesda really does enjoy recycling their game design. They care about the environment.
Now it's time for the Fast Chunks, brought to you by AData. We've all been there. You turn on your PC, boot up the game, and then your friends all turn and laugh at you because you're the last to join thanks to your horrendously slow hard drive. But with AData's Legends 970 SSD, you'll be the first in the lobby every time, assuming the rest of your computer is also fast. It features a PCIe Gen 5 interface that can do up to a sequential read and write speed of 10,000 megabytes per second, or as we in the biz call it, 10 gigabytes per second, or 0.01 terabytes per second. And the Legend 970 will stay nice and cool thanks to its dual-layer aluminum alloy heatsink and built-in fan. So level up your gaming experience today with AData. You can learn more about the Legend 970 at the link down below.
Oh my god! There's quick bits everywhere! Who did this? We'll have to clean up the... Oh, jeez, Louise. Overwatch 2 players are upset that buying the premium winter event pass doesn't give you all the items. And the game's executive producer doesn't understand how that would upset them.
What is going on?
And the dog doesn't understand. At the event, players earn tickets that can be exchanged for prizes, but you can never earn enough to unlock everything. The only way to get enough tickets to do that is to spend an extra.
Let's go, my magic character friend.
Perhaps even worse, the new Christmas-themed Mercy skin doesn't come out until Boxing Day. What? Am I supposed to ignore my family and play Overwatch 2 the day after Christmas? That's not festive at all. Bethesda has confirmed that Fallout 76
You'll be Yang, I'll be
has
Yang.
been played by over 17 million people in the
Oh, there's a
5
lot of
years,
people coming here. We may
following
not
an
want to go there. Let's barrel off to,
absolute clusterfuck of a launch back in
oh
2018.
shit, we're
But
going
Bethesda
here.
has been working hard to
We're going here. You coming with me? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
on
Where'd you go?
Steam, with the opposite as Starfield.
There's someone
They're
back
also
behind
not
me right
stopping
now.
Yet. In spring 2024, we'll see the America's Playground update, which adds 3 new main quests and open exploration of Atlantic City. Later in the year, Bethesda will even be adding a
I
new
got a
area
weapon or
to the map.
two.
The Shenandoah Valley, in the mystical land of Virginia. The Resident Evil 4 remake has launched on iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, proving once again that, much like Mr. X, this is a game that just won't die. Though do note that you'll only be able to play this version if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or a device with an M1 processor or later. Unfortunately, it seems that Death Stranding's mobile and Mac debut has been delayed into early next year. Let's just hope they're using that extra time for something important, and not just perfecting the volumetric lighting on the piss grenades.
There's an augmented reality version called Going for a Walk.
The finals has finally improved anti-cheat after hordes of cheaters have taken over the game. Fortunately, while Embark Studios has been slow to fix the problem, one crafty player has come up with their own solution. By slapping a turret on a flower pot and carrying it in front of them, they become invincible to cheaters, just like in real life. This player claims that the game's turrets mess with aim lock hacks, and that's why it works so well. Personally, I think the cheater developed a fear of plants after going months, perhaps years, without touching grass. I can't cheat out here. And Zack Snyder, the director that exists to answer the question, what if Michael Bay enjoyed shooting films in the dark, has said he would like to direct a Fortnite movie during the press tour for his upcoming Netflix movie, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
That's a real title.
That's too long. Honestly, I am 100% on board with that happening. Not because I think it'll be good, but because I want to see a pitch black fight scene between a buff cat man and a banana. I've wanted that since I was a child. But not as much as you'll want to see our Christmas special on Tuesday. What? Yes, I know what that's Boxing Day. Game Linked comes out on Tuesdays. We're all just going to have to deal with it.
Got a supply bin here. Optics here. Mid-range. Half the squads are gone. Probably went home to complain about it on the feed.
Mid-range. Here's your birthday present. Got some materials here.
Bella from Ferks. Well, well, well.
Bella Frankert. Bella from Forks. Well, 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 we meet again. I'm your captain. Friend.
Bella from Forks. How
are you? I'm good. How about you? Bella? Bella from the block.
Bella from Forks. I am good.
What is Forks? Is that a place?
Bella from Forks. Will the text-to-speech voice say anything I type?
Don't try it, because
Bella from Forks.
You'll get
Forks is
banned.
in Washington.
You'll get banned if you say the. What? Where from?
Open up some amped cover.
Frag out. Axta up.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Shooting.
Enemy shield broken.
Here's one if you need it. Patching myself up a bit. Just giving my
Bella from Forks. What if I say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Replicator, drop it like it's hot.
Good work!
we clean up good. Deploying health drone.
I almost
Bella
got
from
broke
Forks.
there.
You showed that team who's boss.
I showed that team who's the boss. Not really me, maybe my teammate. But I fucked him up at the end when it was time to push. I didn't know that was
Listen up,
time
the
right
ring
there.
closing in 1 minute.
Dude was
Bella
hurt.
from Forks. Have you been naughty or nice this year?
I don't think I've ever been nice any year. Nice as me don't really get
45, ring edge
spoken
close.
together that often. Or something. Have you been naughty or
Bella
nice?
from Forks. So you're on the naughty list then?
I'm not on anyone's list, I don't think. People get on my lists.
Here's your birthday present.
Uh-oh. We got a
Bella
long ways
from
to go,
Forks.
big buddy.
You're at the top of my list.
We're either going left or we're going right. We should probably go back left.
I'm spotted. Taking fire.
Go back this way as fast as you can. Run, 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 man. Mrs. Coon. Oh, shit. You're gonna get fried.
Listen up, the ring's moving.
She's gonna get fried, isn't she?
Recharging my shields.
Did she die?
from
Did she
Forks.
leave? What's happening?
It's a list of the naughtiest streamers I've ever met.
The naughtiest streamers.
Either again,
I'm on the naughty list. What is it? Me and Amaranth and what's that girl that just got banned? Give it for a second. I'll think of her name. Morg Pie. And who else is on that list? Could you please list the people for me? Some
Bella
of
from
them.
Forks. It's actually just you on the list.
Bella Porch. Bella from the block. Bella.
careful, mates. We're
Bella.
Crash, which some of you know too much about, I'm sure.
It's just me on the list. I'm
Bella
not
from Forks.
just me on anyone's
Do you like
list.
roast beef?
Nope. I don't. Not that much. I'm sorry. Do you?
I'm down.
Bella from Ferks.
Oh shit! Someone was just fucking aiming at me with a goddamn laser. Fuck, bro.
Just giving my shields a recharge.
Round 3.
Recharging my shields.
Countdown.
My teammate just fucking left me.
Attention.
I need to be able to craft.
Got a replicator coming down.
There's a chance I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna wait this out for a minute.
1 minute till ring close.
Let go. I can get out to this edge, but I don't think I can ever get back to that bitch. No, there's no way. Oh, there's people on my
45
right now.
until ring close.
Fuck my
It's
life.
near. Easy. Just giving my shields a recharge. 30 seconds.
It's not good. This
Just
ain't
10 seconds.
good, let me tell you. This ain't good.
Attention. There is a new kill leader. Warning. Ring closing. Care package being delivered.
Here's my birthday present.
Traded up. Still gotta get out. Almost out, but I'm not quite. No.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
Round 4. Beginning.
Recharging my
Fuck
shields.
my world. There's a fight out there. There's people over here to my left. I'm gonna try to get across this bridge while I can. Oh my god, this is the dumbest move I've ever made.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
Yep, I knew I would get hit. But I might be able to juke and jive out of there.
Rings close. Only 1 minute
Oh
to go.
shit. Juke. It'll run. Be athletic and get it.
Rings not that far.
Athlete, not just a shooter. Oh shit, laser on me.
Recharging my shields.
God damn it, I gotta hide right here. The laser can't, where I can move. Well, they're aiming there. You can get out to here. Now that laser ain't touching me from here. That guy's done with that,
Good
though.
thing I'm inside the ring. Got some extra supplies. Patch me up, though.
Round 5. Beginning ring countdown.
Two enemy squads left. I can do this. 1 minute till ring close.
Third party this. We'll let them get to each other and hurt, and then come try to finish them from behind.
Ring's
She
not
said.
that far. "30 seconds. Calling in a last land package. Got that shit myself. Just 10 seconds.
This might work.
Broke their shield now. I'm getting shot at. Back me up, though. Just giving my shields a recharge. Broke their shield now.
Oh, come on! I played that right, too. Tacos, roast beef, tacos. No, don't give me that shit, you ho. Cook up a better in the meal in the kitchen for show. I need something better than that. Tacos, roast beef. This ain't 1954. That might be it for that tonight. Bella Forks. Bella Porks. Bella likes all the motherfucking dorks. What's up with this? John Doherty is horrible.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
even know who
wrapping
that
up
is.
2023.
I don't know who that is,
Season
motherfucker.
finale,
You're
my own
bringing the
little
stupid
YouTube
back into my
rewind,
life.
where I go back through the
I don't
internet's
like
most
this shit, you
insufferable
fucking
worms from
assholes.
this year that I haven't previously covered, and I make fun of them now. Yesterday, it was Illuminati on the chopping block. Today, we're shooting spitballs at Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty's infamy online reached its crescendo about a month ago, hitting its peak, mainly because he became known as just this punching bag. His face was a knuckle sandwich magnet, so most of his viral clips were him getting slapped or being involved in some kind of fight that broke out, because he truly is just an insufferable asshole to be around. Now, make no mistake, don't misconstrue my words, Jack Doherty isn't the one fighting. He's the one getting beat like a drum, and I don't think I've ever seen him throw anything beyond one wet noodle punch that didn't connect. He usually has his bodyguards fight his battles for him, with conflicts that he starts and instigates, but he's around fights all the time. It's just, when you get near Jack Doherty, it's like a Dementor. It sucks the fun out of everything, and everyone gets uncomfortable and mad at him. He just has this indescribable X-Men mutation about him that makes him impossible to be around while also being in a good mood. So I'm going to go ahead and show you his most viral clip that ever came out from him, the legacy for which he will always be remembered. This is his magnum opus.
Go. What? Whoa, Pop, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah.
This is Jack's iconic shtick, where he walks around causing a ruckus, just being this menace to society, harassing people, and then trying to get a rise out of them. The second someone looks like they're ready to get confrontational with Jack, he has his security guards swoop in and stop it, just put the kibosh on it immediately. He travels with his bodyguards that are basically his babysitters, his nannies, really his guardian angels. They're the only thing that's kept him alive this long, because he is such a piece of shit. Everybody wants to fight him when he does things like this, but his bodyguards protect him. And he still has the gall, the fucking chutzpah, to stand behind his bodyguards, peek his head over, and continue to insult the person. He actually looks like a cartoon villain out of Popeye. Like, look at the way he conducts himself. It's so bad. This would be the most embarrassing moment to somebody else, but for Jack, it's his proudest moment. Now, when it comes to insulting Jack Doherty here, I actually have skin in this game. Just like an 80s action movie tagline, this time it's personal. When I say he is insufferable to be around, I'm not just basing that off of the videos I see of him. I actually know Jack Doherty in real life. In fact, he was in one of my videos 4 years ago, but you probably didn't know that because I did my absolute best to edit him out of it. It's from a video 4 years ago when the local Tampa Police Department challenged me to complete their police academy. This was during the time where I was watching live PD and talking about police activity, making jokes about it. They invited me out there to try it myself. Well, Jack Doherty actually happened to be there on that same day. Despite my best efforts to rewrite history, you can't fully erase the stain. You can see the cringe cryptid right there in the yellow shirt. This is a young Jack Doherty spotting. At the time of filming that video, Jack would have been 16 years old.
What the fuck?
And I
Who
know
the fuck
it's
is
not exactly cool to bully a child, but this wasn't a child, this was a demon. It's not just me that had an extremely negative impression of Jack on that day. Matt, Andrew, Tiana, and the officers all had nothing good to say about their experience being around Jack Doherty for like the 6 hours we were there. He was one of the most disrespectful people I had ever seen in person. For some reason, he was extremely loud most of the day, so anytime he tried to talk, he'd kind of yell it at the officers or anyone he was talking to, I suppose. It was like he was trying to get into a screaming match on an Xbox Live lobby for no reason. Like, I think that was just him trying to be hyped for his video or something, but man, it was extremely annoying. But beyond that, anytime we were about to do one of the tests, or if the officers were trying to tell us something about one of the tests, he'd be like interrupting them frequently, and the yelling was giving me a goddamn headache. Like, none of us had anything positive to say about Jack. The only thing is, we all understood that he was a child. He found internet fame extremely young. So clearly that had a poisonous effect on his mind. And we had all just kind of expected that he's going through a phase, most likely he'd eventually grow out of this. But not only did he not grow height-wise, he also didn't grow personality-wise. His attitude is exactly the same. His face looks exactly the same as when he was a 13-year-old boy, which is highly unlucky for him, and maybe that explains why he lashes out so often. But overall, over the last 4 years, he's just gotten worse. He's gotten more degenerate, more aggressive, more hostile, and he's just a giant piece of shit now. Since he's had internet fame,
he's just
for so
a giant
long,
piece of
truly
shit.
believes that he is some kind of deity, this kind of internet god, and everyone is beneath him. He thinks he's superior to just the plebeians around him. So he uses all
You're
the
a piece
strangers he
of
comes in
shit
contact with
now.
on stream as
You're
props for his
just a
content,
piece of
and
shit.
his big thing is still basically
You're a
having his
piece
bodyguard
of
protect
shit
him
now.
all of the time, which is
You
so
are
fucking
just a
pathetic.
piece
But
of
anyway, let's dive into a bit more of the Stack Doherty.
You're a piece of
So he makes most of his money through OnlyFans. He manages a lot of OnlyFans girls, as well as having an OnlyFans of his own, which I think if you sign up for that, you need to be put on some kind of FBI watch list, because this looks like a child.
What
That
the
is
fuck?
a very fucking awful OnlyFans page to be subscribing to. You probably need to be investigated. But he makes all of his money there, basically, and he will
What?
never let you forget. he is making a lot of money through managing these OnlyFans models. He frequently posts these flexes, talk shit all you want, you wish you could spend this much on your credit card in just 2 weeks, and it's just an absurd amount of money that he's dumping on garbage. He posts these at least once a week, and it's clearly engagement farming. He's just baiting people to get mad at him and just shitting on him, because he's realized that is his formula to success. He'll just cosplay as the communal urinal for the internet to collectively come take a piss in, because it gets him a little money off of like the Twitter posts, but maybe it gets him a couple extra OnlyFans subscribers or a few curious kids that'll watch his stream to see what kind of degeneracy unfolds. He's basically playing the villain. He's leaning into the role. I always find this to be an extremely sad path to take, because he is actually just becoming the clown on purpose, and eventually he's going to grow up. It's going to happen at some point, and it's going to be nothing but shame for him, I imagine, because who in the world would possibly want the legacy of just being the hated douchebag? That's not something to be proud of. Even if you do have a lot of money in your bank account from it, I can't imagine it feels good to explain to your friends and family how you got that money, because everyone dislikes you and makes fun of you. Like, there's no way that that's a rewarding experience. I don't think there's any reason to show you any more of his clips. They're all just infuriating garbage. It's just eye-rolling trash. Like, even just yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, he got into a confrontation with a bouncer over like a fake ID or something, according to the headlines. And it's once again just Zach Doherty being the little
Spike down.
He is.
Spike down. B.
Little douchebag
At the bottom of ropes.
Just an entitled asshole. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about him a little bit since I haven't talked about him all year, and I do actually know him. I'm using know really loosely. I met him one time, but that was enough to get an extremely accurate gauge on the kind of person he was then, and all I could do was pray that he wouldn't be that person in the future. But he became so much worse down the line.
Tell me you didn't get
which
knifed.
Is almost impressive, actually. So yeah, just wanted to talk about him a little bit. That's it. So yeah.
Enemy spotted mid.
30 seconds left. Ten seconds left. Last player standing.
Careful now.
Burn bright, Phoenix.
How's what happening?
Spike down mid.
Spike started mid. Shock dart. Dead.
Enemy remaining.
Careful now.
Spike planted.
Nice.
Hype girl. Hello, you want some? It's for you. Doggy, get it.
Thanks.
Good boy.
You failed. Now flee.
Heal.
Keep them in our sights. Here.
Shadows traveling.
I suggest you move. Careful now. Ready.
Spike down A.
Come on, let's go.
Right here. Quiet now.
One enemy remaining.
Done. Careful now.
Kill me.
I don't know if anyone saw the other kill before that, but that shit was insane.
They're losing heart. I can't.
Where's Flavor Flav? Come on. No hype? No hype?
We are immovable.
Right here. Enemy spotted. There they are. Die.
One dead.
Spike down mid. One enemy remaining.
Down.
Scanning ahead. Right here. Enemy spotted B.
No. 30 seconds left.
I feel the strain. Block it out, Omen.
Reloading.
Enemy spotted B.
Taken out. My ult is ready. Enemy spotted mid.
Careful now.
Enemy spotted B.
Enemy down.
My ultimate is ready. Gun here.
Spike down mid.
Spike is mid.
Enemy spotted B.
One enemy remaining.
My ultimate is ready.
Flawless.
Let them rot.
Remember, stay out of the fire. Super high level tactic. Remember that, yeah?
My.
Here. Careful now.
It's you and me.
Sorry, bro.
Flash. Spike down A.
One in ropes there, Sage.
Careful now.
Fire in the hole!
Quiet now.
Oh my god, she pulled her rockets out. I'm running. Oh, he got me! On site. Holy motherfucker.
One enemy remaining. Last player
Oh,
standing.
smoked!
Spike down A.
Don't let him do it. He's up top. He's only coming with a knife. Keep your distance. Put a bunch of space in front of you. Don't do that. Oh my god.
30
This girl's
seconds
psycho.
left.
She a psycho. Oh, you got her? Oh, she bailed.
Spike planted.
Oh, she picked it up and went. Let's go, Blue Knight. Put your wings on and fly. Back door, back door. You gotta get on the spike. It's too late now.
Even with numbers, anything can still happen. Remember that.
Right here. Multiple enemies.
Hi! I'm pissed!
Right here.
Spike down B.
Spike spotted B. Enemy spotted B. Silence.
What? How did that happen? I got hit from a corner. Rat. Behind you.
One enemy remaining.
The rat on my body. The rat on my body in the corner.
My burden never ends. I am everywhere.
Enemy spotted A.
I'm sorry, one's running on me.
Attacker spawn.
Spike down A.
Gun here.
One enemy remaining.
Revealing it. Right here. Right here.
30 seconds left.
It is done.
Spike here. Wait until I blind them to strike. Gun here. Gun here. Shadows traveling. Stealing sight.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Spike spotted A.
Enemy spot.
Still just human.
What will it be this time? Have any patterns emerged yet?
Eyes up.
It's you and me.
Enemy spotted.
Spike down B.
Enemy spotted. Mid. Enemy spotted. Mid.
My ult is ready.
Spike's here. Spike's here.
Not gonna let them get around on me, are you? There's nobody in there?
One enemy remaining.
Spike here.
Flash!
My ultimate's ready.
Gun here.
This is crazy. It feels like we've been doing this forever. Anyone else feel like that? Just me? Okay. Let's go.
Scatter.
Many enemies.
One enemy remaining.
She in there.
Reload.
Reloading.
Last round before the switch.
Save nothing.
Spike down B.
Spike spotted B.
One enemy remaining.
Don't let him ace. Don't let him ace.
Switching sides.
Their MVP is mine. Let's do this.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Do you smell their panic?
Revealing area.
What?
There they are.
Last player standing. Hey.
You man ready for a light show?
Let's not go that side.
We win, we survive.
Stealing sight. Here.
Knife on my back.
Like planet.
Enemy spotted A.
One enemy remaining.
Scanning ahead. Be still. Reloading.
Match point.
Stamp out their last breath.
Quiet.
Down.
Enemy spotted, mid. Rest.
52 on Raze. Sorry.
One enemy
Pay
remaining.
attention.
Attackers win.
Ah, come on, bruv. Like it was gonna happen any other way.
I don't see Greg on.
king of the hill.
Translocator incoming. If they want that hill, they'll have to go through us. Well, you. Well, most of you.
Ready. Hill control. Enemy team took the hill. Hill control. Enemy team took the hill. Hill control.
You stay here. I'm gonna take the sniper and go back.
Your team about to score.
Distance is just the best.
Get a grenade on that.
The hill.
There's 4 on it.
Enemy about to score.
Power items incoming. Power items on the field.
Sword on the spot. Sword on it. Yep, he's under there. Nice. There's one more.
Hill incoming. Hill ready. Hill control.
We're all there.
Your team about to score.
Power weapons inbound. Instant power at your service.
Your team score. Hill incoming.
Power weapons have arrived.
Hill ready.
I'll take that.
Enemy team took the hill.
Sniper in there.
Another one down. Enemy about to score.
Power items on the way.
Hill control.
Power items have arrived.
teammate. Your team about to score. Enemy team took the hill.
They have a sword on the hill.
Enemy team scored. Hill incoming. Hill ready. Hill control. Enemy S7 sniper.
Fucking
Enemy
go.
team took the hill. Hill control.
Power items inbound.
Your team about to score.
Power items available.
Your team scored. Hill incoming. Hill ready. Hill control. We've lost a teammate. Enemy team took the hill. Enemy shield down. Hill control. The hill. Enemy team nearing victory. Hill control. Victory.
That boys. Even big game and we're going to big game. Battle.
Yeah, it turns out that there's a lot going on there to lie to you about how fast your writing speed really is.
Wendell stopped by.
Hello.
He brought snake oil.
I heard it was good. I saw it online. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I saw that online too. Yeah. They really made it sound good.
They tried.
Yeah.
Well, they tried.
Yeah. Do we just like
from the bottle.
Yeah, directly up the nose.
It's just gonna be fun. So
I was in the neighborhood, and it was just like, I don't know, I had some random stuff around the office. I thought it might be interesting to talk about the changing role of PCIe in modern systems, because there's some really exciting stuff coming down the pipe for servers, which might eventually make its way to workstations.
yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Wendell's box of oddities that he brought, and I'm not sure if it will or at what point it will, but we also filmed a short thing about our old small sound chamber.
That's why I'm here. I've come to steal the old sound chamber.
He's taking possession. He's repossessing it.
The new sound chamber will contain the old sound chamber, which is just madness.
So he's gonna have that now, which may be some really cool stuff on level 1 text at some point. So where do we want to start with this? Like, let's just do the what individual things to do. Before that, this video is brought to you by the thermal takes, so that even as you by reversing the blade pressure evenly to up below.
I brought a Kioxia CM7. This is a Gen 5 SSD, but this is a Gen 5 SSD that can sustain 14 gigabytes per second. So, you know, with modern M.2 SSDs, they'll heat quench or they will SLC write quench, and a lot of the time with enterprise grade drives, they're a lot more expensive, but they don't really have, they don't suffer from the same kinds of problems.
Well, this is a complaint of yours that you immediately brought up with me, which is...
Yeah, it's just the consumer, so like, why isn't Gen 5 M.2 catching on as quickly as Gen 4, as quickly, you go to a Gen 3 M.2 and it's a night and day difference from SATA. Why isn't it the same with Gen 5? And part of that's because latency, the latency of the storage doesn't matter, it is 14 gigabytes per second. But also, the performance is getting worse as we move to like 4 and 5 level cells. It'll run really fast for a little while for writes, but then it gets slower. And the more information that's on the drive, the harder time it has reading sometimes, depending on the drive and the characteristics and the firmware and a whole bunch of other things. Enterprise drives don't really suffer from that, and it's still a 2.5-inch form factor, and so it's like we go from this to something on the motherboard, and maybe back to this, because...
Also, that drive's remarkably light, I noticed.
Yeah, well, this one's only 4 terabytes. These come up to 30 terabytes, and the 30 terabyte ones do have some half.
Okay.
And in terms of power consumption, this is good for 25 watts, versus you're limited to about 10 watts on an M.2.
Okay. This thing, what's the top level of this?
This is the other format. This is EDSF, E1S, and this is also E3.S, but this is a PCIe type connector. It looks like an M.2, but is in fact not M.2 at all. This is a form factor showing up in servers and some workstations. Lenovo, for their new Threadripper workstations, is adopting this kind of connector.
Do you think this comes to consumer at some point?
Yes. It's already there a little bit, at least in Lenovo workstations, but this is more like this or this should come to enthusiast performance, because it gives you more power, it gives you better, easier connectivity, and also, like, one of the reasons I think that we didn't see this in Gen 4 as much in a lot of workstations is because it was hard to get error-free signals. And so that's also part of the madness here. Like, this is a redriver card. This is an M.2 to go to that EDSFF connector, and there's a redriver on it. Redrivers are expensive. And so this thing reconditions the signal and then it works.
Okay.
And then this is a card that takes PCIe lanes from the motherboard and takes them out into an external chassis. This company called Liquid. I just got a Liquid PCIe fabric, and so you can have a small machine with those, and you can take the lanes 16 at a time into an external chassis. It's like, I want to put 30 GPUs in a system. That's how you do it. Yeah, they can take a whole bunch of SSDs, put it behind a PLX bridge, and then give you insane speeds by just aggregating a ton of SSDs, which is kind of old hat now. But I love that PCIe is becoming the interconnect of everything. AMD, their MI300 event, like, oh, we're going to do Ultra Ethernet and blah, blah, blah. But it's PCIe and RDMA was what they were talking about. How do we do RDMA, like, copy from one system to the other? It's like, what if you could just plug PCIe from one computer to another? Like, there's no peripheral. It's literally just PCIe lanes from computer A to computer B. Then you're simulating hardware. Not really.
Yeah, so I was going to ask from a communication standpoint. That seems to me like it... Does it introduce an additional... something to bridge communication?
Yes. And so... But it takes stuff like, think about when you've got an Ethernet connection. Even if you've got the fastest, 400 or 800 gig Ethernet, you go computer, PCIe, 800 gig Ethernet, there's a transceiver there, and then some physical connections, and then physical connections on the other end, and then blah, 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 back to PCIe. And
RDMA is one of the things, remote DMA. So it's like we're gonna, from this computer, you can remotely directly access the memory, DMA, direct memory access, over the network. So once you eliminate all that stuff, you just have to be way less complicated, way less latency, and the latency is the killer. So that's why this is really exciting, because PCIe is finally branching out and doing everything.
So latency ends up being, from what you were saying over on this side too, being problematic for storage as well?
Yeah, because
I guess, like, to me, I don't work in storage at all, but especially not enterprise stuff. And so I feel like I probably wouldn't really notice the latency problems you might be talking about in the other side of the industry in a consumer use case, but maybe I'm just not privy to how much it matters.
It is, if you use the highest end enterprise drive in a gaming computer, it would feel night and day.
Okay, do you think so?
Yeah, so pretty sure. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should build something and come down and do it not as fast as I can possibly.
You can do a blind test.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And it has to do with random I/O latency. So it's not like loading a game. Like these fast drives are not actually loading a game level. Like, oh, I loaded the level really fast. Booting the system and just randomly doing stuff. You know how different between the fields?
I mean, a hard drive can be pretty
think about memory takes the edge off a lot. So if you have a system that has 16 gigabytes of memory, you can kind of feel the difference between the same fast storage and not. You take a 16 gig system and you take it up to like 64 gigs. Launch your game once or twice, close it, and then launch it again. Most of that is not reading from the storage, it's just cached in memory.
Okay.
And you get the benefit of the really low latency storage when you have jobs of memory cached. Right. So you look in Task Manager and it's like you're not using the memory.
It's also why we, in some games now, it's become an actual important fact for us for benchmarking, where we used to run everything on 2.5 inch SATA. Because purely from a test, curate, I'll use your word, janitor standpoint, it's a lot easier to work with SATA. You move them around like nothing. But we had switched to NVMe drives, at least for the primary, and we moved to them for game drives now too, because the games are large enough and they needed data fast enough that it was starting to affect the time between tests in a way that matters. Like when you're running, it's weird because as a player you notice it, but when you're running thousands of tests, right, in a month, like an extra few seconds, it really adds up fast.
It's also true that PCIe is starting to be used for lots of creative things outside of everything else. Like there's Thunderbolt. I mean, everybody knows Thunderbolt from USB 4. So like this is the GPD Win 2023, but they've added Oculink. And Oculink is this strange server connector as well. Like there's no difference between these connectors on this ROM server motherboard and our system here. Like this is a server data cable.
I can remember this.
Yeah.
G1?
Yeah, the G1 is also an Oculink, but I can mix and match here. Like, it doesn't have to be a G1. I can actually break these back out into, like, this works. Like, this is a thing. Like, I've connected two systems together via PCIe.
We heard you like computers.
Yeah.
Now, Oculink, you had an interesting comment to me earlier about the connection cycle survivability.
Yeah, so...
Like shockingly low.
Yeah, so this is an internal server cable. Like, this type of cable is only typically rated at 250 insertions. GPD has moved mountains to use an internal connector that's rated at like 10,000 insertions. But an internal connector on a consumer device rated for only 10,000 insertions is still kind of low. A lot of USB-C connectors are rated for 100,000 plus insertions.
So you're talking like on the motherboard side, I guess.
Yeah. And so you get into weird stuff. But like this Oculink connection from this server motherboard into this 7600, this is basically a 7600 GT. This is valid. This will work. This GPU will show up in the system and this is perfectly usable.
Cool. That's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah.
What do you have here? What are our options?
So Oculink is not super awesome for Gen 4. It is a little tough to get it to work at Gen 4. And in fact, this cable that's bundled with this does not reliably work at Gen 4 with all devices.
Okay.
They've done some magic in here, and they've done some magic in here that mostly these will link up at Gen 4. But like Minis Forum is another, they make, small form factor machines. They also have Oculink ports on their small machines now. And it's hard to get a Gen 4 connection with this cable if these are shorter cables. There's signal integrity issues and blah, blah, blah.
So those actually start showing up at length with this? What's, I mean, top of your head, is there kind of like a threshold where it gets really bad? Or?
No, it also cable quality and a whole bunch of other factors.
Okay.
So, and this is one of the problems that plagued Gen 4. This is, I think, why we didn't see UW2 drives in workstations, because it was hard to get. A lot of the time they recycled SAS connections, which is like another server standard. It's like, we need a high-speed connector. I was like, oh, we'll just use that one. And it hasn't worked out. It's not reliable. People would try to use those kind of drives and get frustrated, and then it's customer service nightmare, blah, blah, blah. Enter MiniCool.io.
MCIO.
Yeah, and so this is an 8-lane MCIO connection. And this is
like Cool Edge or something.
Yeah, Cool Edge.
Okay.
And
what does? Sorry to interrupt, but if we can start on the name for a second, what does it mean?
It's a different kind of connector, and this connector is the first connector that is actually kind of working for Gen 5 and Gen 6.
Okay.
It's not fully certified for Gen 6 yet, but this is very promising. And so, like, this cable with this Kioxia CM7 in the modern, like, Genoa server motherboards is awesome. And this works reliably. Like, this cable at this length at Gen 5 signaling speeds is awesome. We were just on the struggle bus with Gen 4 and this cable, and then you're telling me this one works at Gen 5? I mean, it's a similar construction, it's a similar architecture, but they've actually hidden some electronics in the connectors, and you have things like this for the redriver, and so there's a lot of black magic going on here. But ultimately, it means that you will have a reliable PCIe style connection for your storage drive, and because it's direct PCIe.
Let's talk about your use of the word reliable. What really are you talking about when referencing unreliable?
So you can have strange stuttering from your machine when it doesn't have a connection, and eventually it'll drop down to PCIe Gen 3.
Okay.
But it's not even necessarily guaranteed to be reliable at Gen 3. Like, you could have a Gen 5 device that drops to Gen 4, drops to Gen 3.
Definitely a potential speed impact.
Yeah.
If you're deranking the generation, and then
blue screens could be common. Programs could crash. Incorrect information could be returned.
That's bad.
Those are on people trying to build workstations around this, like people using this Oculus connector with the wrong types of stuff upstream to connect to drives, introduced all those kinds of issues. A lot of the time, server vendors, when you contact them, will say you can only use this kind of connector to go to a backplane. Don't connect it directly to a drive, connect it to a circuit board that has redrivers, and then connect your drive to that. And so that's why I think we haven't seen any adoption in a workstation. And for consumers, you can forget it. If you sell something like this in Best Buy and it's not plug and play, the return rate is going to be like 35-40%.
I haven't had any hands-on time with this, but I was watching Wendell work with it, and there's some really cool small features.
Yeah, so you can. It's the GPD. It's just
like, this is what I like, the hidden storage compartment for.
Yeah, you can literally just pop those out. It is mind-blowing how fast this is. This is the 7840 HS. This is the 64 gigabyte model. I've got 3 terabytes of storage in it right now, including Linux and Windows. I can't believe the battery actually lasts like 7-8 hours.
Yeah, that's good. You said you liked the keyboard when buying this specifically.
Yeah, it's productive.
Okay, just specifically with what buttons are available, I guess. That's always my problem with. I mean,
it's like 90%.
Yeah. I will say here, this isn't bad index finger. I think if you wanted, like, this is pretty bad. This feels awful.
2 fingers.
I'm not a fan of this. But yeah, just single for L1, L2. What kind of game do you play on this?
Not much.
Okay.
Not yet. It actually plays Baldur's Gate reasonably okay.
Okay. The deck and the ally, maybe they fixed it now, but they were struggling a little bit with frame pacing for Baldur's Gate, even at low settings.
Yeah, when you use it with the G1, of course, it's a really good experience. But AMD, like in their drivers, it's really fascinating because the drivers think that this is internal, and so they give you software for setting the total system power. But in this case, the total system power this is externally powered, and then it's externally powered. And so if you set 100 watts, it'll try to balance 100 watts between the CPU over here and the GPU over there.
Okay.
But you can let both of them run unconstrained at like 100 watts if you want to, and that's fine. You don't need that for gaming.
Not a sale right into that.
I need a 14900K uncapped for game, right?
800 watts.
Yeah, I want my room as warm as possible. You were talking about how PCIe as kind of a standard communication option, I guess, going forward is exciting to you.
Yeah.
So why is that?
Because it's standardized, and it means that anything can connect to anything else, even for all the crazy off-label uses. Like if you wanted to connect the G1 to a Roam server motherboard, it's totally fine, as long as you can physically get the PCIe mindset. And anybody that followed it knows we've been doing that within that too, like converting it up to back into 4 PCIe lanes. You have something like this, you can do that. Or you have something like this, where you literally, like this is on a server side in commercial, you take the stuff into the chest. And the reason that you would do that is because you can disaggregate PCIe devices from the hosts that they're physically attached to. So think about it in terms of like, I'm a game developer, I'm a software developer. I've got 3 generations of AMD GPU and 3 generations of NVIDIA GPU that I want to work with my game. So instead of having one test system where I'm swapping GPUs, I can actually build a fully automated real-world test rig and have this connected to a gaming PC.
I see.
And then in software, swap the GPU and set a fully automated test.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we. I briefly was in talks with a robotics engineer about building a rig to swap cards. We decided it wasn't worth it. Yeah, we decided it wasn't worth it. But that is cool, though. I mean, that is really interesting to me as a use case. And I guess what that maybe kind of opened my eyes to is if the standard, if PCIe is just a standard, then you don't have to worry as much about, okay, well, is this an edge case? If the answer is yes, this is an edge case, and so is this and this and this and this. But if they all kind of just work when you plug it in, it doesn't, like, it's not like it's necessarily a ton of explicit support.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of the benefit is if you have a million people who all are members of these small, edge case groups, you're at least not dealing with the explicit support you might need through other options. So.
And it's software definable too, because if you are using GPUs for people logging in remotely during the day, as everybody leaves, you can just re-provision those GPUs within these be used for AI or research after hours.
So before I go back to some pool for selection, I guess.
Yeah, the switching is happening at PCIe, and there's no overhead from the switching because it's just PCIe,
Right.
and you're not building a new stack on top of Ethernet or some other.
So I mean, do you then in that scenario, it's like GPUs, do you end up with basically almost like a mining rig scenario where it's kind of, okay, so like host board, bunch of cables, and then a bunch of GPUs up in a rack somewhere. Okay.
And you can even take it a level further. Imagine a single rack is your unit of compute, and there's a single insanely high-speed PCIe network card, just the one. And the one network card is what connects the entire rack. But you've got a rack full of machines that are connected to the PCIe bus. The one network card shows up as a discrete network card for all the machines that are attached to it, and they can all communicate with one another like as if the network card is real, but you don't actually have 12 network cards and 12 machines.
Okay.
There's one network card that's 800 gigabit.
Is this like is this a future to you? I mean, do you see this as where we're going?
Yeah, a lot of the high-end data center stuff is already there, and I could see, like, think about compute resources at home. If you had the virtualization stuff that we were doing, and like vGPU unlock, which is like a fringe, there's a really cool utility that will let you unlock GPU virtualization on a gaming GPU, like as if it's an enterprise GPU. But imagine that your home computer is not your home computer anymore. Your home computer is a box in the basement. You can make noise and do whatever. And somebody wants to play games at 40, 90 levels of fidelity, they can. But then somebody else also wants to play, that's fine. And they're all on the same shared hardware.
But that sounds like, if I'm NVIDIA, that sounds like you're stealing from me.
You got about 3 GPUs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like, because it's like, you're talking about a mini version of GeForce Now, just locally, better latency, more ownership, which is good.
Yeah.
And maybe that's,
So what if I plug my little mini laptop in, but there's no, like, I'm not plugging it into a docking station, really. I'm literally plugging it into a desktop machine down there. There's no bottleneck. And then when I want to take it with me, it's going to run slower because I'm taking it with me. But everything, lives with me. Everything lives in a virtual machine. I think that's probably our future one way or the other.
Well, yeah, and so that's the part that concerns me is the other. Because the one way sounds good. The other is I think, I mean, and maybe this is worth talking about for a minute, but going in the total lack of ownership direction, because
you will own nothing and be happy. I don't want that future.
Yeah, and I feel like you see that materializing with like GeForce Now, bringing that up again, but where Nvidia is kind of not really engaging with the raw market right now.
Yeah.
Well, there's rumors of a 30, 56 gigabyte in like a month, but I doesn't really count.
I think the best example of that has also been Sony lately, because Sony's like, oh, we're going to turn off all your stuff in your library. And it's like, but I bought that. Well, it turns out you didn't actually buy that. You're just renting it for a really long time. It's just, that's, what? No.
Yeah, and that's why if I were to be conspiracy theorist about it, I guess, if a company is in a domineering enough position where it can leave a certain segment alone, so like low end, and just say, look, you want NVIDIA, you gotta subscribe to GeForce Now.
I think what you're talking about is Gabe Newell saw the writing on the wall, and I think that's why he went in the Linux direction more than Steam Deck. And think about like the Steam consoles and everything else. Like Microsoft was saying, we have a gaming solution. That's the Xbox. If you want to play Xbox games on your Surface, we don't have to put a good GPU in there. You can do remote play over the network to your Xbox, and we'll sell an Xbox. And the Xbox will be the thing that's running it. You have two people that want to play games at the same time, you get 2 Xboxes. 3 people in your house that want to play games at the same time, you do 3 Xboxes. But you can play it on the living room TV, you can play it on your Surface, you can play it everywhere, and ta-da, it's Xbox. And so Gabe Newell saw that and said, no, that's not good for us.
Valve going that direction, they've been successful, it's fair to say, with the Steam Deck.
I think that people have experienced enough of Sony's actions in other contemporary scenarios that is why the pendulum is swinging the other way. So there was one of my family members experienced, it was Netflix. They tried to find, there was a show they were watching on Netflix, and then they got busy and they came back, and then, you know, here it is a couple months later, they're like, oh, I can finally sit down and finish my show. It wasn't on Netflix anymore. And they're like, I don't understand. And I explained it to them, and they're not really super computer literate. And they were like, well, I got, you know, that's disappointing. And then they were like, well, is there an easier way for me to watch my DVDs? And I was like, well, yeah, you can, you know, you hook up a DVD player to your computer, and then you can do some software. And so I set him up, you know, some stuff, and then he can do some stuff on his own. And now he's watching his movies on the computer, not through Netflix, but he can also watch it on his phone and remote and stuff.
Right.
And I didn't hear from him for a couple of weeks. And then, like a week ago, he sent me a picture, and it was like, I got a really good haul from the flea market, and it was just milk crates full of DVDs. And so he's got his little rig set up, and he's just copying it all on his computer. He's like, I'll build my own Netflix. And it's like, people have gotten burned by stuff like that, and they're like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, it's like the hard swing back the other way. We've been talking about this, like, you kept, when we were talking about websites, because Wendell rebuilt the website, one of the phrases you kept using was, you were talking about pendulum swinging back the other way.
Yeah.
And I'll let you explain, but I think that came up when we were talking about YouTube, Reddit, Google, large consolidated services.
Yeah, eventually those services can't help but get worse because they change hands. Somebody buys them, and if somebody buys them, they expect to get the money that they paid back and then some.
Immediately.
And so with Reddit, you know, the mod Exodus and that sort of thing. And if you look at a lot of printed websites and, you know, information capture, like we're losing a lot of information in things like Discord. Like there's a lot happening in Discord, and that's good, but then the information is not really well captured and well searchable.
Forums have largely been replaced by it.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. I was talking with Patrick and our team about this recently. I think we may have talked about it too, about this concept of Google is getting worse. Like the search engine.
Yeah.
And
some of the lawsuits, it literally came out that it is in their financial interest to make the search results a little worse because you stay on the site a little longer and they make a little bit more money.
That's so stupid. Yeah. But I started experiencing that more recently, where I forget, I was troubleshooting something, and it was the first time I've had to like look information up to troubleshoot a Windows issue in a long time. And so all I needed was some steps to click through the interface, and I think part of the useless results I got returned was a result of forum discussion moving, because you're left with these maybe AI generated, basically spam sites, right? That are like, it's like the cooking websites. It's like, here's my life story written by maybe AI, and here's the 3 steps that might not work.
Well, if you imagine Reddit how it's supposed to work, it would be a great resource. It's like, I would like to learn how to not kill a bonsai tree. And then it's like, oh, there's a subreddit for that that's about care and feeding of bonsai trees and the different species and how you can help them grow and so on and so forth. That is very valuable. If you're a search engine, you can look at that and say, okay, human beings are probably preventing spam and they're probably curating the content a little bit on Reddit. We can naturally or deliberately rank Reddit a little higher. Whereas when it's AI-generated stuff, it's like the search engine doesn't know. It's like, well, this is original content and it seems applicable to what you're talking about. But I don't know if it's an individual, I don't know if this is whatever, because anybody can post anything. But if it's going to survive on Reddit, you're going to get downvotes, you're going to get stuff, and so all of a sudden, this weird situation like that's more valuable. When people consolidate there and plot there, and then traffic is strong, and you have to, like, pull the rug, and suffer, blah, blah, blah. So for what you're doing for
charging battery,
publishing information without newsletter pop-up, and without BS, and without insanity. So I was like, yes, I'm motivated to work on this. This will be fun.
But I think on the pendulum swing stuff, YouTube's been part of that. We've talked about this on how we decided. But one of the things that bothered me when we explicitly and intentionally moved away from it was I'd see it firsthand where someone on the team like Patrick is writing a new case review, and he wants to quote the article, to reference what we said, what our numbers were, what our conclusions were, because archivally and historically, it only makes more sense to operate that way than to look through the video. And videos are obviously fantastic. They're extremely useful things.
Very information dense potential.
They can be extremely information dense, and then but the problem is it's not really, it can be searchable, but it's not really searchable at like Google.
And they're private.
Like you can pull up if you know the thing you want is in the video and you pull the transcript, now you can control out the video. But
well, Google has experimented with some search results where if I can search for something, this is in the video. I think that there's an intersection of like AI and large language models that are going to probably do away with conventional search engines, but they will be able to take them to the specific content and make them give you the response that they need. Maybe that'll be the happy medium of like, oh my god, they're stealing my content from AI versus, because if you had an AI assistant that was, hey, go through Steve's catalog and figure out where to talk about the quotes of this particular power supply because I'm doing a build. This table looks weird, and I don't know why it won't shove in the power supply. Do you see anything relevant to that? The AI is like, boom, I got you. So that would be really handy. Like, that would be like the Google of yore.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason that's better than just a Google search, I guess, is because you can Google, you start making your search query too long.
Yeah. But historically, that was fine. Like, there was programming queries that I had that were this long, and Google was like, yeah, there's like 7 guys that had that problem 3 years ago. And that's all gone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That was something we talked about too with the charts of PNGs. And a lot of that was we didn't want to commit too much complexity to it early. It has to be sustainable for our workflow. But then there was also a discussion of like, well, like, easier for bots to screens.
Or this screen.
Yeah.
This is my result.
You made this? Yeah. Yeah, equals ran between, add some integer between 0 and 10. The last piece we haven't really talked about is this, which is actually something that I brought to the table that Wendell brought to the motherboard. I, however, am going to hand this to you.
Oh, yeah. We have a mystery CPU, and the question is, will the mystery CPU boot or will bad things happen? So I think we're going to find out.
Yeah, this was provided to us as part of our AMD Lab documentary, where the very end of it we show how the IHS is actually rated, whether it's that word is, but and so they rate welcome games Nexus, and we were told this is dead, and it might be, but companies have given us CPUs in the past that said we're dead, and they weren't. And there's a lot of reasons I can think of for that. Many of them not relevant, on the front end, but this one I honestly think is probably the reason I suspect it might is not to cover it up too much, is because I think it's probably easier for them to take just any functioning CPU out of their line then I just go take one out of the trash. Just demo purposes, it might have just taken a real one.
I'm going to need a power supply and one stick of registered SSD. Double zero is doesn't.
I think what I want that's that in this sound can't
But I suspect that it is probably a good horse series. This is really high. So I did this for some people that got off of eBay, and the pad blew off.
After it? Nice. How was the other guy?
Yeah, it still works. Nothing.
Okay, well that was fine. I don't know if it'll make it any good or not.
Yeah, it looks kind of nice if I come in. I mean, 1% chance this is going to explode. One with uncanny.
Or turn it on. That would have been nice. Well, thanks for all the discussion and also for trying to see if the CPU did anything.
No worries, it didn't. The CPU did not do anything. Spoiler.
Yeah, I think they know that now. But no, this is cool. If anyone wants to see more of this kind of stuff, you can listen to Wendell over at Level 1 Text.
I like rambling. I like going fast, but you need workstation storage. There was a couple people on the forum that had like, I'm just casually shelling around 400 gigabytes of data on flash. Why does it slow down after 100 gigabytes? And it's like, do you not know the secrets of modern flash storage? You're going to need to buy some real enterprise storage. You're not going to get that from an M.2. Come on.
Yeah, we get for our external NVMe drives for moving games around between systems, we cap out at 700 megabytes per second or something in a lot of cases. Pull and push from the server. So we're limited there. But then it dies hard.
Yeah.
Down to like 30 megabytes per second. So, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that there's a lot going on there to lie to you about how fast your write speed really is, and then once you hit the limit, you're stuck. It's got to catch up.
Yeah.
Why is it so slow? It's like, well, that's the design.
That's why. So learn more about it at Level 1 Text. And
thanks for having me. Thanks for the sound chamber.
Yeah, thanks for taking it. Thanks for freeing up space in our office.
Woo!
We'll see you all next time.
I want to be a good civilian. I'd really like to make a good impact on this world.